It flickered across the black sea of space, sending out long, fading waves of golden light that reached no one but a single, lonely station. That station, the Lyra station, drifted in slow orbit, surrounded by silence older than time itself. Inside that silence lived Dr. Elias Ward, one of the last humans still working under the control of the alien Dominion. His station had been forgotten by most. The aliens said his work was unnecessary maintenance of a decaying star, but Elias knew better. He had asked for this post himself. He had chosen this exile because Vespera was the last place where she had lived. Her name was Lyra Hale, once an astronomer, once his partner, and once the only reason he believed the universe had meaning. She had died 30 years ago when her research vessel was lost in a gravitational storm. All the records said she was gone forever, but Elias could never let her memory fade into darkness. So now, every night cycle, he sat before the great observation window, eyes locked on the pulsing star. He watched how it blinked, how it sang. He whispered, "Still here, Lyra, still watching." The aliens never cared about such things. The Dominion believed that emotion weakened the mind. They saw love as an ancient disease of the human race, a thing that had nearly led to its extinction. To them, humans were fragile, short-lived creatures guided by feelings instead of reason. That was why they allowed humans to live only under supervision. Every human scientist, artist, or worker had to report to an alien administrator. Elias's administrator was a tall, silver-skinned creature called Voran. Voran visited him once every rotation, appearing as a holographic form within the control room. "Dr. Ward," Voran said one day, his voice smooth and metallic, "your energy usage remains inefficient. You are directing too much power toward the observation array. Explain." Elias did not look up from his console. He typed quickly, rerouting the data through a private channel. "I'm adjusting the pulsar's data rhythm for analysis," he lied. Voran tilted his head. "Analysis? There are no living civilizations within reach of its output. Why analyze a dying star?" Elias gave a small smile. "Because it's beautiful." The alien blinked, confused. "Beauty is not a scientific metric." "It is to me," Elias said softly. Voran's projection flickered, his expression unreadable. "You humans waste energy on sentiment. Continue your tasks. Do not deviate from Dominion parameters." And with that, the hologram vanished, leaving Elias alone once more. When the silence returned, Elias exhaled. He touched a small pendant hanging from his neck. A glass sphere containing a speck of Lyra's DNA, recovered from an old archive before her ship was lost. He carried it everywhere, close to his heart. "Still watching," he whispered again. For years, Elias had been building something secret, something no Dominion sensor would detect. He called it the Pulse Project. He had found a way to alter the pulsar emissions of Vespera just slightly, not enough to be noticed by the Dominion, but enough to encode a message. Each flash of the pulsar, each rhythm of light would carry her name, Lyra. 4 letters written not in ink or stone, but in light and time. If he could complete it before the Dominion discovered him, her name would echo across the stars for centuries, maybe forever. Anyone studying the pulsar would one day find the pattern, and they would know that once, long ago, a human loved someone enough to write her name in a star. Days turned to weeks, weeks to months. The station groaned and hummed as Elias worked alone. He repaired failing circuits, rewired power cores, and wrote code until his fingers trembled. Sometimes he fell asleep in the control chair, dreaming of Lyra standing beside him, smiling the way she used to during their nights on Earth. He remembered her laugh. Soft, musical, when she used to name constellations just to make him smile. She had said once, "One day someone will look up at a star and remember us." That memory became his mission. But every day the Dominion tightened control. Voran's inspections became more frequent. Sometimes surveillance drones hovered near the station's hull. Elias had to mask his signals better, rerouting his energy through shield emitters and pretending they were repairs. He told himself it would be worth it. Just a few more adjustments and the pulsar would be ready. One cycle, as Vespera pulsed outside like a golden heartbeat, Elias received a new transmission. Voran's cold face appeared again. "Dr. Ward," the alien said, Your reassignment has been approved. The Dominion has decided to shut down Lyra Station. You are to return to Central Command immediately. Elias froze. He felt his chest tighten. You can't shut it down. The star's emissions are unstable. If the systems are abandoned, they will decay naturally, Voran interrupted. The Dominion does not require obsolete research stations. Prepare for departure within 3 standard rotations. Then the hologram vanished. Elias sat there, staring at the empty air where the alien had been. His pulse quickened. 3 rotations. He had only 3 rotations left to finish his work, or Lyra's name would never be complete. He stood and looked out the observation window. The star shimmered weakly, its golden light bending through the station's glass. 3 days, he whispered. Then I'll be gone too. He began working faster. Sleep no longer mattered. Food barely did. He rerouted energy from life support to the signal amplifiers, risking power loss to the rest of the station. Each pulse from the star now carried fragments of the message, half-formed, incomplete, but beautiful in its own strange pattern. The ship's systems began to complain. Alarms blinked red, warning of overloads. He ignored them all. Elias wrote line after line of code, adjusting timing and angles. He manually realigned the signal mirrors around the station, so the light beams from Vespera reflected across surrounding asteroid dust, shaping a faint, luminous trail. He wanted her name not only encoded in light, but painted across the sky. The letters were faint but real. L. E. R. When the 4th letter appeared in his scans, he felt tears well up. He had done it. Her name was complete. He laughed softly, though his voice cracked. You see, Lyra? You're part of the stars now. That night, though there was no night in space, Elias sat by the viewport with a cup of recycled coffee. He stared at the glowing pulses of the dying star. Each rhythm felt like a heartbeat. He thought about what humans used to be: dreamers, explorers, poets, and fools. The aliens believed humans were weak because they cared too much, but Elias thought that was what made them strong. The Dominion built empires. Humans built meaning. He whispered, We're still here, Lyra. Even if they forget us, the stars won't. Outside, the pulsar flashed again, 4 steady beats. Lyra, it wasn't just light. It was a memory, a promise, a whisper to eternity that love, real human love, could outlast even death and decay. But as he watched, a faint light appeared on the horizon of the station, the silhouette of incoming Dominion ships. They were early. Voran had returned to collect him. Elias stood, feeling both fear and peace. He had finished the work. The signal was active, encoded, and self-sustaining. Even if they destroyed the station, the pulsar would continue to pulse her name for thousands of years. He smiled faintly. You'll remember me now, won't you, Lyra? The star pulsed again, brighter than before. It felt almost alive, like it was answering him. And as the Dominion ships drew closer, Elias whispered one final time, Then my job is done. He turned back to the controls, ready for whatever came next. Outside, in the endless dark, her name shone brighter than the sun. The Dominion ships surrounded Lyra Station like silent ghosts. Their metallic hulls reflected the dying light of the star Vespera, turning them into golden shadows drifting closer. Inside, Dr. Elias Ward stood at the main console, watching the readings flash across the screen. He had done it. Her name, Lyra, now pulsed in the heart of the star. But his heart was heavy. He knew what the Dominion did to those who broke their laws. Still, fear couldn't erase the peace he felt. For the first time in 30 years, he had finished something that truly mattered. The communicator crackled. Dr. Ward, came the cold voice of Voran, the alien administrator. This is your final warning. Shut down all non-Dominion systems and prepare for arrest. Elias didn't move. He stared through the wide glass viewport where the ships grew larger. He could almost see the reflection of Lyra's name glowing faintly in the cosmic dust. He whispered, You'll have to catch me first. Elias turned off the communicator and began typing rapidly. He opened Project Mnemosyne, a program he had once promised himself never to use. It was his failsafe, a way to connect Lyra Station's power core directly to the pulsar. It was dangerous, maybe even suicidal, but it would ensure that no one could erase her name. He worked fast. Every click, every line of code was a heartbeat in time. His hands trembled, not from fear but from exhaustion. The station's lights flickered as power rerouted. Energy hummed through the metal floors, up the walls into the observation dome. Outside, Vespera brightened, burning with renewed strength. Elias felt the warmth through the glass. It reminded him of Earth's sunlight, something he hadn't felt in decades. Suddenly, the communication console beeped again. Voran's face appeared as a shimmering projection. "Dr. Ward," the alien said, voice sharp and controlled. "What are you doing?" "You are overloading the station. This action violates Dominion Code Section." Elias interrupted softly. "You wouldn't understand, Voran." Voran narrowed his eyes. "Explain. Why sacrifice yourself for a name?" Elias smiled faintly. "Because a name is everything we leave behind. You see data, I see love. You see wasted energy, I see meaning." Voran tilted his head, confused. "Love is irrelevant to progress." "Then maybe progress isn't everything," Elias said. He looked out the window again. "Do you know what humans used to do, Voran? When they loved someone, they wrote their names everywhere, on trees, in sand, on walls. I just chose something bigger." The alien hesitated, his metallic voice losing its certainty. "You risk extinction for memory?" Elias nodded. "If the universe forgets us, at least it will remember her." For a brief moment, Voran said nothing. Then, in a voice colder than before, he declared, "You are in violation of Dominion control. You will be neutralized." The projection vanished. Elias sighed. I guess that's that. He knew what would happen next. The Dominion ships would disable his station, maybe even destroy it. But he had one last chance to make sure Lyra's name survived forever. He accessed the station's central reactor. Red warning lights filled the control room, but he ignored them. "Let's do this, Lyra," he whispered. He activated Project Namazin. Instantly, the power core roared to life. The floor trembled beneath him and the sound of pure energy filled the air. Outside, the dying star began to flare brighter and brighter as if it had been waiting for this moment. The pulsar's rhythm quickened, once every 5 seconds, then every 2. The letters formed again. LYRA, each pulse a perfect beat of light. Then something new began. The star's plasma stream bent under the energy surge, stretching into long trails of gold that curved across the void. Slowly, the dust around Vespera began to form glowing lines. A constellation. It was shaped like a woman looking toward the horizon of space. Lyra. The Dominion ships reacted at once. Blinding beams of blue light shot from their hulls, scanning the station. Elias could hear the AI warning him. "Power surge critical. Reactor core unstable. Recommend evacuation." But Elias only smiled. Not yet. He worked quickly, locking the pulsar's modified rhythm into a repeating feedback loop. Once active, no one could change it, not even him. It would continue broadcasting forever. When the system confirmed the lock, Elias leaned back in his chair, breathing heavily. His body was weak, but his spirit was calm. "Done," he whispered. "You're safe now." The floor shook violently as the Dominion's magnetic clamps latched onto the station. Voran's voice echoed through the speakers again. "Elias Ward, power down immediately or we will destroy this structure." Elias smiled sadly. "You'll try." He walked slowly to the viewport. Outside, the star blazed like a second sun, painting the entire station in gold. The dust cloud shimmered, the letters of Lyra's name now clear and shining. For a moment, he felt as if she was standing beside him again. He remembered her voice saying, "Stars are just memories of light, Elias. They die. But their light travels on." He chuckled softly. "You were right, Lyra. Even when we're gone, the light keeps going." The Dominion began firing EMP bursts to disable the station. Sparks flew through the corridors. Metal panels fell from the ceiling. But the energy from the reactor was now bound to the pulsar, unstoppable. Elias staggered back to his console, shielding his eyes from the sparks. The AI's voice grew faint and distorted. "Warning. Structural integrity compromised." "Recommend—" "I know," Elias murmured. "But not yet." He looked up one last time at the star. It was no longer dying. The power surge had reignited it, at least for a while. Its light spread far, touching asteroid fields, passing moons, even reaching the hulls of the Dominion ships. The aliens stopped firing for a moment, perhaps realizing what they were witnessing. A dead star reborn, not by technology, but by a human heart refusing to let go. Voren's voice returned, softer this time. Elias Ward, why do you continue? You will not survive this. Elias smiled tiredly. Maybe I'm not supposed to. The alien paused. You speak as if death has no meaning. Oh, it has meaning, Elias said. It just isn't the end. You can destroy me, Voren, but not this. Not what I've made. He turned the communicator toward the viewport. Look, tell me it's meaningless. Through the glass, the golden constellation shone across the void. The name, the shape, the light. It was as if the universe itself had become his letter to her. Voren was silent for several seconds. Then he said quietly, Perhaps humans are not as inefficient as I believed. The transmission ended without another order. Elias felt his knees weaken. The energy levels had reached maximum. The floor beneath him glowed from the heat of the overworked reactors. He sank into his chair, breathing slowly, eyes never leaving the light outside. He whispered, You'll remember me now, Lyra. Not because I asked you to, but because I couldn't stop loving you. The star pulsed again, Lyra, brighter, stronger, alive. The station trembled one last time. Elias closed his eyes. In his final thoughts, he imagined her, smiling in the starlight, whispering his name back to him. He felt warmth, not pain, peace, not fear. Then, with a sound like a sigh, Lyra Station vanished in a burst of golden light. For a long moment, space was quiet. The Dominion ships drifted in silence, their sensors filled with static. Then slowly, the light cleared, and there it was, a vast, radiant constellation spread across the void. The Lyra constellation, glowing brighter than any star around it. The pulsar beat on steadily, repeating its rhythm, sending her name across galaxies somewhere far away. Explorers from other worlds turned their telescopes toward Vespera and saw the pattern. They did not understand the meaning of the letters, but they felt something deep inside, something ancient and human. And though they couldn't explain it, they whispered the same words softly as if remembering something they had never known. 300 years passed since the night Lyra Station vanished in light. The Dominion's empire had changed, their fleet scattered, their rule weakened. Stars that once feared their shadow now shone free again, but some lights in the sky never faded, and one of them was the Lyra constellation, burning softly near the dying edges of the Vespera system. To most, it was just a beautiful pattern in the sky. To others, it was something more, a mystery. The star pulsed in a strange rhythm that no alien scholar could fully understand. The signal repeated endlessly every few seconds, 4 beats of light, like a heartbeat whispering across eternity. And now, at last, humanity had returned to find out what it meant. A small research ship named Aurora Dawn approached the old coordinates of Lyra Station. Inside, young cadet Nova Tran sat by the viewport, her brown eyes wide with wonder as the golden light of the pulsar washed over her face. She had read about this place her whole life, the place where a lone human scientist vanished long ago. The Dominion had tried to erase the story, but fragments survived in secret archives. The records spoke of Dr. Elias Ward, a man who had done something impossible for reasons no one fully understood. Her commanding officer, Captain Jalen Ross, looked over her shoulder. First time seeing a pulsar up close, cadet? Yes, sir, Nova said softly. It's beautiful. It almost looks alive, Jalen chuckled. Alive? It's a dead star spinning itself apart. Maybe, she replied, smiling faintly. But sometimes dead things still leave light behind. Jalen gave her a thoughtful look. You sound like the poets from the old Earth archives. Maybe I am, Nova said. Maybe that's what makes us human. The ship's scanners picked up the steady pulses. Beep, 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 beep. 4 flashes, repeating forever. Nova watched the pattern for hours, tracing it in her notebook. The other crew members soon grew bored, but she couldn't look away. There was something about those lights, something that felt familiar. When she was little, her grandmother used to tell her stories about old Earth, about love letters and promises made under the stars. Nova had always thought those stories were just myths, small tales meant to make children dream. But now, looking at the pattern glowing against the black, she felt the same warmth she used to feel when her grandmother spoke. It didn't feel like data. It felt like a message. That night, while the others slept, Nova stayed in the observation room. She whispered to the window. "What are you trying to say?" The lights pulsed back, steady and patient. She copied the intervals again, counting carefully. Long, short, short, long. Then she realized it wasn't random. It was coded rhythm. Her heart skipped. "It's a name," she breathed. She ran to her terminal, decoding the sequence through old human language software. The letters appeared slowly on the screen. L-Y-R. Anova stared at the word, whispering it aloud. Lyra. It sounded like music. The next morning, she presented her findings to Captain Jalen. He raised an eyebrow. "You think the pulsar is spelling a human name?" "Yes, sir. Over and over again. It's been doing this for at least 3 centuries. He frowned slightly. "But why would anyone do that?" Nova hesitated, then said softly, "Maybe because they didn't want someone to be forgotten." The captain studied her for a long moment, then nodded. "Prepare a report for Earth Command. They'll want to see this, but Nova didn't send it right away. Something inside her told her this wasn't just data for a report. It was a story, one meant to be remembered, not analyzed." Later that day, the Aurora Dawn entered orbit around the pulsar. From there, Nova could see the full constellation formed by glowing dust trails. It was breathtaking, a figure of light reaching across space. Her terminal displayed faint radiation echoes from a destroyed object once stationed here. The fragments matched the structure of Lyra Station. She found one more thing, a tiny metallic capsule drifting among the debris, still carrying an old human beacon code. It was cracked but intact. The crew retrieved it carefully. When they opened it in the lab, they found a message crystal, dim but functional. The inscription on the surface read, "To the ones who come after. If you see her name, then I have done my part. Her name is Lyra, and she was everything that made me human." Dr. Elias Ward. The room went quiet. Even the captain had no words. Nova felt tears sting her eyes. She imagined a man alone in this place, working for years just to make sure one person's name would never vanish. She whispered, "He wrote her name in stars." Over the next days, Nova studied everything about the pulsar. She discovered that Elias's energy link had permanently changed its emission cycle. The signal would keep going for tens of thousands of years, long after the star itself faded. In a way, he had made eternity remember love. One evening, as the Aurora Dawn prepared to leave orbit, Nova stood alone by the viewport again. The constellation shimmered outside, calm and steady. She whispered, "Dr. Ward, if you can somehow hear this, we remember you, and we remember her." The star pulsed once, twice, almost like an answer. When Nova returned to Earth, she carried the message crystal personally to the Human Science Council. The scholars called it the Ward Artifact. They studied it for weeks, confirming every word and analyzing the signal from Vespera. News spread across human colonies faster than light. People began to look up at the night sky again, searching for the constellation. Some painted it on walls. Some sang about it. Children learned the story in school, the tale of the man who wrote a name in stars because he loved. Even alien worlds began to take notice. Dominion historians, what few were left, recorded it as the human signal of emotion. Some said it proved that humans were not driven by logic, but by something deeper. One alien poet wrote, "They built monuments of light not for gods or kings, but for a single heart." Years later, Nova became captain of her own ship. She named it the Lyra. Every journey began with the same tradition. Before activating the hyperdrive, the crew stood at the observation deck and looked toward the constellation. They would watch the golden pulses in silence for a few moments. Nova would then say, "We travel among stars written by love," and the ship would vanish into light. One night, during a long mission, Nova's ship passed close to the Vespera system again. She went to the deck alone like she always did. The constellation was still there, unchanged, undimmed, still whispering the same name. She smiled. In that moment, she imagined Elias standing beside her, looking out just as she was now. She imagined Lyra, too, not gone but waiting in the light he left behind. "Thank you," she said softly, "for reminding us what it means to be human." The pulsar flashed again, Lyra, over and over, sending its rhythm across the endless dark. Far away, on a new human colony, a young boy stood on a hill at night gazing at the sky. He pointed upward, asking his mother, "What's that shining star?" His mother smiled. "That's not just a star, my love. That's a promise. A long time ago, someone loved so deeply that he wrote her name there. So we'd always remember that love can reach across the universe." The boy's eyes widened. Did it work? Did she remember him? His mother looked up at the glowing constellation. "Yes," she whispered, "because we remember them both." The camera of the universe pulled back. The Lyra constellation gleamed, golden and eternal, floating among a million nameless stars. The pulsar's light carried its message through time and space, crossing new galaxies, reaching worlds not yet born. And somewhere beyond what eyes could see, beyond what science could measure, the light carried a whisper, faint but unending. He wrote her name in stars, so she would remember him forevermore.